and I'm going to uh, I'm going to show you my process for drafting. Well, let's just say if you want to draft after a, a pretty cheap roster, or even if you want to make your favorite superstar is cheaper to contract. I would recommend custom draft pool. I'm just going to make a draft pool. Yeah, I'm not. This draft pool is for my upcoming YouTube playthrough of Mygm, and this is the Mygm draft pool that I'm using for my personal I should have did one. I should have made one ahead of time of this video. I was just thinking about it. So sorry, but let's just get right into it. I didn't actually do what I'm about out this. Well, for my main, but for some of my test my GMs, I did this. Let's say you want somebody like, I don't know. Let's find her here. One of my big examples and one of my favorite people to actually draft. Shit. Let's go. Shotzi. Man, they really gave her the shit stick as far as popularity, but as you know, a lot uh, of superstars who are on NXT in the game are pretty darn cheap. Uh, if you if you're not going to use any of the other methods for any of the other methods I'm about to show you, but the but what I'm about to tell you right here is Shotzi is a low key sleeper star if you know what to do. They have her default. I mean, they have her heel by default, and that's because she had just. I mean, she had turned heel like months after her call up, even though in the game she's still on NXT and she's still a babyface, and she was relatively pushed on NXT. So yeah, doing this actually does not make any sense. Before any drafting happens, if I'm definitely going to get Shotzi, I'm going to turn her into a fan favorite, because if you realize there are no there's no real women's superstar that happens to be a face giant. You would have to get somebody like Beth Spartan, who's one of the enhancement talents. We'll get into those in a few minutes. For Shotzi to have a feud with, because she's a heel cruiser, and to get the best kind of match yield out of her as a heel. If I'm gonna get it, this is if I'm planning to make Shotzi like a big star, and I want her as a heel. It's gonna be a huge challenge because, like I said, cruisers do well with giants, and of course, you would have to get the best out of Shotzi as a heel. You would have to either find a whole bunch of enhancement talent that happen to be giants. So far, I only found um, as far as ladies who are of the giant class. Beth Spartan is a face. Pretty much so far the only person Shotzi can actually feud with. As a heel, it would make sense. Jody Garcia, of course, that match wouldn't make sense. I would have to turn. I would have to turn Jody Garcia face and of course it wouldn't be a good match anyway because Shotzi starts off with a pretty abysmal popularity rating. You kind of see that with everybody that's labeled an NXT superstar on this game, even though they are in actuality they're actually more popular than they are to 2K, which getting off topic. Nia and Shotzi could definitely feud because for some reason Nia is a face, but the problem here is Nia is literally the only real superstar Shotzi can feud with under her current alignment. And the only other options are Raquel Gonzalez, who's a heel, and Tamina, who's also a heel. So if you just don't make anything on changes, getting Shotzi would be a bad idea because she has no one to feud with. That would yield you viewers and cash. But if you turned Shotzi to a face, she has Odie Tamina and Raquel to feud with realistically. But to bolster that, I would start making my own giant heels in the ladies division. That's if you want to do that. Like, and here you can actually change the classes of the of whoever you might want. See, I could right now I could easily turn Shotzi into a specialist, and and she could feud with practically anyone and would yield a good match. Like I said, I'm still using Shotzi as an example because I admit that I'm a huge Shotzi simp. But the off of that, another thing I would do as far as well getting your your favorite, if you just want to get your favorites easier, set set them to local. I would I would set them to local. Of course, yeah, that would lower the draft pool since the local the quote unquote local wrestlers, the enhancement talent will not show up in the draft pool, and you would have to buy them for on the signed free agent screen. And of course, the only way to turn them into an active superstar is that superstar training card, and those are hard to get. Those are hard to get to increase your chances of getting that. I would strongly suggest being the GM of NXT or NXT UK. SmackDown also kind of has a increased chance of you getting them, but they're still few and far between. On just my fool around file for my GM, I had gotten 3 of them as the GM for NXT UK, and and I only had one local superstar that I could change into an active regular competitor. But as far as drafting, like if you're, let's say you're at the draft screen, which I'm going to just go to right now, do a default and go into the draft. Well, you all of us know this.
The Red Brand kicking things off with the first pick.
Your first pick is always important. It sets
Ross
up.
GM knows this is the most important pick of the night, playing the waiting game.
Shut up, Saxon. Man, I should have found a way to get pretty much your first pick will set up your recommendations. I would go for getting whoever's going to be your champions first. Even though this pick is kind of expensive because Brock and Roman are the most expensive guys you can get. Brock and Roman are the two most expensive guys you can get.
Brock Lesnar, the beast incarnate, set to eat, sleep, conquer, repeat on a new brand. Add another major accolade to their career, a first-round draft pick.
And then of course you saw how Shane, the other GM, who was GM of NXT, brought the Tribal Chief back to NXT.
I think the other brands picked through Raw's GM for a loop. Now they need to regroup.
Now, I mean, I would either pick the person that Brock's going to feud with. That's going to be tough because I would need a face fighter, and I would have to, well, face fight either. So before the feud even starts, I would have to turn King Nakamura face. This goes back to what I said before. If there is feud you have in mind, base off that, but also, like, I mean, base your feuds off of your first pick and how much money you're actually going to be spending through booking. But also, so that means you have to customize that your draft pool to reflect what you are going to do as far as drafting. So I'm going to need, since I already drafted this Test Files men's champion, might as well draft a lady in the of the same same ilk as far as alignment.
Charlotte Flair, the Queen's throne is on Raw. This superstar matches up against anyone, even the first pick.
Yeah, what Corey Graves just said is true. Charlotte's a specialist.
Raw's GM has a bit of time on the clock, and they plan on using every second.
So Charlotte could easily work with ladies who are fighters, giants, anyone.
The entire WWE Universe on pins and needles. Raw taking their time with this next pick.
I'm just gonna right now. I'm just gonna randomly pick.
McIntyre aimed to lay waste on a new night. This guy will fight tooth and nail for this brand. Rhea Ripley. Raw's about to experience the nightmare.
A down and dirty brawler. She is great for this brand.
I'm also going to use recommendations, which you should do. Please do.
Roderick Strong, the messiah of the backbreaker on a new night. He's unhappy to be picked this late. He'll show he's not an afterthought. Damian Priest, the Archer of Infamy, sets his sights on Raw. He's knocking on the door. This is a smart pick. Candice LeRae, who will join the black and gold brand next. Candice LeRae shaking things up on a new night.
The brand is taking shape, and this woman is picking her targets.
Murphy, I don't usually pick him. He's pretty cheap, but I wouldn't bet it against anybody.
The clock is ticking. Raw's GM wants to make the perfect pick.
A new world for Murphy to conquer. This pick should translate into big success.
That's a pretty decent starting roster, even though I wouldn't say this is like the perfect roster, since
this pick could alter the landscape of WWE. Raw's GM is not taking it lightly.
Because in this roster I only have 3 ladies, so I would have to spend some money to bolster the women's roster.
Lot of ways NXT can go here. Let's see what they pick. The big deal making a big impact on a new night. The brand clearly has plans in mind for him. NXT weighing their options here for the next pick. Gonzalez. The powerful Raquel Gonzalez joining a new brand. This woman looking to scratch and claw her way to the top. A major decision for the NXT War Room. The NXT GM weighing their options here.
Pretty decent roster, and you noticed that Shane went with Shotzi. Like, every time I did not pick her, she was always picked by the GM, because there's so many things you can do with her, but you gotta admit, you gotta put in the work, because remember, she has 46 popularity. She doesn't have a good star rating due to the fact that she was on NXT at the time of this game's creation. But when you add, but she can give you gains if you work hard enough to increase her popularity. And please, for the love of Christ, change the role of whoever the hell she is feuding with, or if you're not going to change her role. Always customize your draft pool based on what you are going to do and how you're going to draft. Now, we're going into the booking. You've already seen this already. Well, it seems like I got my first two safe feuds right there. Brock and Priest, McIntyre and Strong. Plus, I can level up rivalries easily with Adam Pearce's personal power card. Now, if I really wanted to go serious on a Mygm series, which is coming, by the way, this is not the first episode of it. This is just us, my tips on my process and how I set up. As far as champions, I only have 3 ladies. I did not draft a big enough roster. I did that to save money. Of course, Charlotte, Brock going with the 8th picks. Of course, the belts give the chosen person or the holder in general a tenth of popularity. And now we go into booking. Of course, I have a shit ton of capital to just run through. Of course, if I have light drafts, I can sign me a legend or sign a whole bunch of free agents. Let's do that, but I also try to do that based on what I have. And of course they gave me some people that were left on the board. Only a few people that were left on the board. Not too good as far as I hoped. Tegan would match well with Rhea. I would have, if this was like if I was actually gonna just play this file, I would have turned her into a specialist. And Tegan is pretty cheap, so we're gonna go with her here. Gabby Garcia and Alexa Bliss. Of course, I didn't spend too much. For your first show, just leave this blank, even though, and anyway, none of the normal options are, I mean, the other options are not there yet. They are not there yet. So you gotta wait till a second, wait to get the second tier stuff, and well, you see right there what the weeks you have to wait to get certain tiered stuff. I'm gonna auto book. And I don't know about putting Audie with Drew on the first night, but okay, so what was the commissioner goal? Oh, ensure that Charlotte Flair fights this week. And Triple H offers a veto champ card. That's a good card. Well, actually, any card's a good card. It's just when you choose to use it. Especially the ones that screw the other brand around. So, even though let's see if audiobooks give is the match with damn. So that means for this week get I get the I get the card from booking. This is probably gonna be bad, but some late show. Some late show. Pretty even opening. But yeah, I find this really fun. I find this really fun. Unecon's in the ring that I can name so many Raws that I can say exactly that message about confusing pacing, confusing shit, blah 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 blah. Oh, we had a pretty good, I mean, mid card, and the main event was on par with NXT's. Uh, that comment makes no dang on sense because most likely most of the people that watch the 3 hour catastrophe wouldn't know who Candice LeRae is even if she hit a wicked steps to their balls. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Cyborg, it's out of here. See you in the next video.